Is intended for listeners who are blind, have low vision, or have another print disability, which makes reading, holding a book, or turning a page difficult or impossible. The content is copyrighted by the respective publishers. For more information, please visit us on the web at nfradioreading.org.
Hello. Well, this is Michelle. And for the next hour, I will be reading from the December 28th issue of the Sunday Gusto from the Buffalo News on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Cover story: Standout Shows. A look at the year's best television offerings by Bruce Miller. There's a lot to watch on television these days, but is it worth it? That's the question that comes to mind when compiling a top 10 list. Are all comedies mockumentaries? Are all dramas only good the first year? And what about limited series? If you weren't in from the beginning, are you lost? Those are the thoughts that colored the process and separated some of the candidates, like Dying for Sex, from the final 10. Here's the best TV of 2025 in order. Number 1, Adolescence. Number 2, The Pit. Number 3, Saturday Night Live 50, the anniversary special. Number 4, Pluribus. Number 5, The Bear. Number 6, Andor. Number 7, Alien Earth. Number 8, Hacks. Number 9, Pee-wee as himself. And number 10, American Revolution. Also worth watching is The Studio, Severance, Dying for Sex, The White Lotus, and Task. Working in Harmony, Hugh Jackman and Kate Hudson showcase their voices and impersonation skills in Song Sung Blue by Bruce Miller. Hugh Jackman has played a real performers before. Peter Allen in The Boy from Oz comes to mind. By portraying someone who mimics someone famous, that was a new challenge. You don't have that constant thing of everyone going, "Yeah, no, that wasn't him," Jackman says. When you're playing someone who's very well known, the risk becomes sort of more of a mimic than something that feels super honest. The Tony and Emmy winner got the opportunity to test his skills in Song Sung Blue, the story of Mike Sardinia, a Neil Diamond impersonator. A hit on the bar and fair circuit, Sardinia created an act with wife Claire, formerly a Patsy Cline impersonator. She joined him as Thunder in their Lightning and Thunder act. The two were determined to get to Las Vegas, and then tragedy struck. Claire lost a foot and part of her leg when a car crashed onto their lawn. Mike continued to perform, but without Claire. Eventually, he got her back on stage, and the two attracted the attention of the real Neil Diamond. The film built to the potential meeting. Because most filmgoers aren't familiar with Sardinia, they won't look for distinct quirks. Allen, however, required a freedom of sorts. His essence was the crazy, anything could happen joy of entertaining live, Jackman says. The same for Mike. That's the essence of the character, and that's what you want. Claire, their children, and other family members were on the set when Song Sung Blue was filmed. They were so happy, so thrilled, Kate Hudson, who plays Claire, said. They feel like we really took care of the story. Hudson leans into Claire's Wisconsin accent and studied the 2008 documentary, also named Song Sung Blue, that followed the couple. She worked with Jackman's dialect coach, too, to approximate the Wisconsin accent. He was amazing, she says. He made sure we sounded like we're from the same family, Jackman says. It became sort of a blend, Hudson said. Jackman says the film works because it's the story of people holding on to their dreams but still struggling. When you see them in the documentary turning on the gas stove and you realize it's not for cooking, but for heating the house. You just go, God bless them, Jackman said. They're still holding on to that wanting to entertain dream. Hudson released an album, Glorious, last year, loved impersonating Patsy Cline in Song Sung Blue, and said she's eyeing the Dusty Springfield story as one she could put on film. Her story is really amazing, she said. You don't have to twist my arm to want to sing I Love It So Much. And Claire, her latest character, already the raves are in. The real Claire Sardinia, Hudson says, is over the moon. Review. Cinematic Ode to Neil Diamond Tribute Act is So Good, So Good by Bruce Miller. Writer-director Craig Brewer has figured out a way to get a singer's catalog in the film without telling an original origin story. In Song Sung Blue, he highlights the life of Neil Diamond, interpreter. As a regular on the State Fair circuit, Mike Sardinia, Hugh Jackman, finds a degree of fame in Wisconsin as Lightning. He meets a Patsy Cline impersonator, Claire, played by Kate Hudson, and suggests the duo. She can be Thunder. Lightning and Thunder wow the crowds and seem headed for greater success. Then the crowd crashes into their home, and Claire upsets the plan. Brewer shows how difficult that second tier of fame is and lets Jackman and Hudson shine on bar stage. How they revere Diamond is just part of the film's charm. Based on a 2008 documentary, which is fascinating in its own right, Song Sung Blue makes you cheer for the underdog while appreciating those legendary Neil songs. If only the recent Springsteen bio had this angle. Hudson really leans into her role. Watch the documentary and you'll see. And exhibits a great voice that makes you wonder if it's time for another Patsy Cline movie. Jackman is great, too, but Mike is such a lightning rod of emotions. It's hard not to admire his take on an original. Filled with dramatic, life-altering moments, Song Sung Blue could have been done without any of those so good classics and still been a compelling account. With them, it makes you want to see what it was that sparked Lightning. Brewer doesn't rewrite what documentarian Greg Coase laid down, but he does correct some of the approach to the couple's story. The nonfiction film gets into the family life a bit more, but this captures all the heart. When Jackman and Hudson sing together, you wish you could have seen them on one of their fair stages and heard the reaction. Song Sung Blue crackles just like Rosie. Diamond should be proud of the inspiration he provided Mike and Claire and us. Things to do. There are lots of fun ways to ring in the new year by Tony Roberto. There may be more activities on New Year's Eve than any other day of the year, since seemingly every corner bar, music club, and restaurant is celebrating the old year while welcoming the new one. From visiting penguins early in the day to a silent disco, ball drops, and keg lifts, here are just a few of the many ways to spend New Year's Eve. One of the biggest celebrations is the City of Buffalo's New Year's Eve Ball Drop. The 38th annual event starts at 10 p.m. in Roosevelt Plaza outside of the Electric Tower, Washington Street, with DJ Dixter of 97 Rock and live music by the Strictly Hip and saxophonist Will Holton. At midnight, the ball will drop from the Electric Tower with fireworks to follow. The nearby Rotary Rink at Fountain Plaza will be open from 11 a.m. to 1 a.m. on New Year's Eve to give you time to enjoy free ice skating before and after activities in Roosevelt Plaza. Skate rentals are $3 for adults, $2 for children. At Canal Side, ice skating and other activities are offered from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Across the street, the countdown to 2026 takes place at Explore and More at the Ralph Wilson Children's Museum, 130 Main Street. The kid-friendly museum will be open from 10 to 4 on New Year's Eve with the special activities that include countdowns at noon and 2 p.m. New Year's Eve at the Aquarium of Niagara, Whirlpool Street, Niagara Falls. A sea lion highball drop starts at 11:45 and the Ice Queen is visiting from 10 to 2. There will be a sing-along, winter crafts, and time to visit the penguins and other animals. Family fun New Year's Eve in Niagara Falls, 5 to 10 p.m. at the Convention Center. Keep warm inside the Convention Center with face painting, inflatable fun, a petting zoo, balloon artists, photo booth, entertainment by the UP guys, and a balloon drop at 10 p.m. Tickets are required for ages 3 and older and can be bought at the door or in advance. Family New Year's Eve party, the Buffalo Battleground, Niagara Falls Boulevard, 1888 Niagara Falls Boulevard. Bring the kids for a different take on New Year's Eve festivities with laser tag, mini bowling, arcade games, and a DJ. Tickets include unlimited soft drinks, a buffet from 7 to 8, and a countdown at 9:50. Comedy with Josh Potter. Helium Comedy Club, Mississippi Street. The Buffalo Native is doing 2 shows, 7 and 9:30, at Helium. A dinner and show package includes an appetizer, entree, and dessert. New Year's Eve Masquerade at Salvatore's Hospitality, 7:30 to 1 a.m., Transit Road. Dress up and wear a mask at this annual party that includes entertainment by party band Nick and DJ Tom the Bomb. Doors open at 7:30 with cash bar and gourmet hors d'oeuvres. Dining stations open at 8:30 and a decadent dessert display at 11, followed by midnight champagne toast. Totally Tubular Festival, 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. in Stir at the Seneca Niagara Resort and Casino, Niagara Falls. Welcomes 2026 with a trip back to the 80s in this free concert featuring A Flock of Seagulls, The Romantics, Thomas Dolby, The Motels, Bow Wow Wow, and Animotion. DJ Nicholas Pickles will be on hand from 12:15 to 2 a.m. Buffalo Riverworks, 8 p.m. to 1 a.m., Ganson Street. Music by XOXO Pop Band and DJ Psych. Tickets are $80 each and include a 4-hour open bar and hors d'oeuvres, pasta, and carving station, plus photo booth dancing. Resurgence Brewing, 9 p.m. to 1 a.m., Chicago Street. Food, drinks, and DJs on each floor. Buffet served from 9 to 11, followed by late night snacks. Tickets include unlimited draft beer, wine, cider, canned cocktails, and well drinks, plus a midnight keg lift and champagne toast. The event offers a safe ride program. Tickets are $89. Nerds Gone Wild in the House, 9 p.m. to 1 a.m., December 31st, Hofbrauhaus, Scott Street. Expect dad jokes, dancing, and music with the nerds, along with the champagne toast and party favors. $20 general admission, $89 VIP. Grateful New Year's Eve celebration, 9 p.m. to midnight, at North Brewing Company, Pine Street, East Aurora. Bring your own crock pot or a dish to pass for the tap room tailgate. There will be a keg drop and champagne toast. Queen City Jamboree with Brad Robbins and friends will perform 2 sets of music, $10 cover charge. Universal Funk, 9:30 show on December 31st at the Kaz, Seneca Street. Funky Jams by drummer Deshaun Jackson and Universal Funk. The $115 all-inclusive package includes open bar, hors d'oeuvres, buffet, midnight champagne toast, and hats and noisemakers. Doors open at 9. Club shows happening on December 31st include Lotus at the Town Ballroom, Folk Faces, Woody Towerbox, and Snake Oil Serenades, 9 p.m. Nietzsche's on Allen Street. Letter to Elise, 9 p.m. at Jack Rabbit, Elmwood Avenue. Silent Disco, 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. at Buffalo Ironworks, Illinois Street. You are listening to Reading Articles and Features from the December 28th issue of the Sunday Gusto. Western Riviera Theater, Bon Jovi, tribute to Bon Jovi, January 9th, 7:30. George Michael, Reborn, tribute to George Michael G. Wham, February 7th. Close to You, Music of the Carpenters, February 13th. Wizard of Oz on Ice, February 14th. Pearl Jamming, February 27th. Outlaw State of Mind, March 6th. The Celtic Tenors, March 16th. Return to Paradise, March 20th. Sticky Sweet, March 27th. Just Like Pink, March 28th. Abraxas, a tribute to Santana, April 3rd. Strangelove, just April 4th. Best Friend's Girl, tribute to the Cars, April 10th. The McCartney Experience, April 11th. Simply the Best, tribute to Tina Turner, April 17th. Las Vegas Memories and Melodies, John Wayne, April 25th. Mutt's Gone Nuts, May 3rd. Television. Confetti and Streamers, 6 films to get you into the New Year's Eve. Movies. Confetti and Streamers, 6 films to get you into the New Year's mood. 1. When Harry Met Sally. 2. Ghostbusters 2, 1989. Bridget Jones' Diary, 2001. Phantom Thread, 2017. The Substance, 2024. And Rocky, 1976. Movie review, Return to Pandora. James Cameron's Avatar, Fire and Ash, a beautiful emotional spectacle. Rated PG-13, 3 stars out of 4. By Katie Walsh. At 71, James Cameron still makes movies like he's got something to prove, despite his many accolades, awards, and box office successes. But that fighting spirit is what makes Cameron's films feel so alive and so urgent, a spirit that he has infused into his epic sci-fi space western saga Avatar. For almost 3 decades, Cameron has been ensconced on the planet Pandora, dedicating himself to this film series that expresses all of his obsessions: technology, the ocean, swaggering Marines, powerful women, guns, a deep skepticism for the military and corporations, and a streak of rebellion. 2022's installment, Avatar: The Way of Water, was a massive expansion of the world on Pandora, exploring the oceans of the planet, and his 3rd film, Avatar: Fire and Ash, is an extension of that already established world building. Just a whole lot more of it. Fire and Ash is only 5 minutes longer than The Way of Water, but clocking in at 3 hours and 17 minutes, it feels much heftier. But perhaps because there's much more conflict this time around, less frolicking in the beautiful digital sea. There is function to the bloated running time. By the time the big climactic battle is crashing around us, you care so deeply about these characters. The blended Sully family made up of Marine turned Na'vi Jake, played by Sam Worthington, his wife Neytiri, played by Zoe Saldana, their band of kids including Loke, played by Britton Dalton, Kiri, played by Sigourney Weaver, Tuck, played by Trinity Bliss, and adopted human kid Spider, played by Jack Champion. You care about the Mackay village where they live on a beautiful reef, and the society of whales called the Tokum that commune with the Mackay. Cameron builds our emotional connection to these characters, which plays off when he rains fire down upon them. Cameron wraps his environmental messages about preserving the earth and maintaining a gentle relationship with it in gloriously rendered action bomb blast told with well-loved narrative formulas. As anti-colonist formulas, if it's a bit on the nose, but we can forgive that because the visual spectacle is just so breathtaking beautiful. The emotional stakes palpable and the intention is so earnest. It's good to be back on Pandora. Books. Two Tales. The 10 best nonfiction books of 2025. A Marriage at Sea by Sophie Elmhurst. Bone Valley by Gilbert King. Tigers Between Empires by Jonathan Slaught. I Am Nobody's Slave by Lee Hawkins. The Zorg by Sildar Kara. Charles Sumner, Conscience of a Nation by Zakir Tamiz. Mother Mary Comes to Me by Arundhati Roy. Baldwin, A Love Story by Nicholas Boggs. Is a River Alive by Robert McFarlane. A Truce That Is Not Peace by Miriam Toews. Television. Reputation of 60 Minutes takes a self-imposed hit. Thank You Canada. Global TV in Toronto carried the 60-minute segment on TV and its app that was postponed last Sunday by CBS Editor-in-Chief Barry Weiss from viewing in the United States. That led to the almost 14-minute report about the horrifying conditions at the notorious prison camp in El Salvador where the Trump administration deported 252 Venezuelans. It called terrorists, spreading wildly on social networks. As I posted Tuesday on X, Weiss's 11th hour decision to postpone the story and Global TV's subsequent airing of it likely will lead to it getting more views on social networks than it would have had on CBS if it had aired as planned. There's nothing like telling people you can't see something that makes them want to see it. It wasn't the first time that a Canadian network came to the rescue of a controversial decision by CBS. Toronto TV critic Bill Bronx tells me that an episode of The Smothers Brothers in the 1960s that was pulled by CBS aired on CTV, which had the Canadian rights. The airing in Canada of the 60 Minutes report by correspondent Sharon Alfonsi illustrated how late was Weiss' decision to pull it from its planned CBS broadcast after it had been screened 5 times. It also allowed people viewing it to judge for themselves whether the piece was ready for air, despite Weiss' claim that it needed an interview with someone in the Trump administration and didn't advance the story. Alfonsi's story included interviews with 2 men tortured at the camp in El Salvador who described horrifying conditions, including being beaten and having to drink toilet water to stay hydrated. In my view, it was a powerful piece that was good to go despite Weiss's reservations. I can certainly see why Alfonsi wrote it in the memo to CBS staff after the postponement that it was a political decision. Alfonsi's suggestion is that Weiss pulled the piece, which she said would air at a later date after more work is done, because she didn't want to upset President Trump as CBS owner Paramount attempts a hostile takeover of Warner Brothers that would need federal approval. Alfonso tried to get an interview with someone in the Trump administration, which is something Weiss wants. Near the end of the segment, Alfonsi said the Department of Homeland Security declined an interview and refute all questions to El Salvador. The story also included a 9-month-old clip of White House Press Secretary Carolyn Levitt referring to the Venezuelan men as heinous monsters, rapists, murderers, kidnappers, sexual assaulters, predators who have no right to be in this country and they must be held accountable. Alfonsi's report contradicted Levitt to a large degree, saying nearly half of the men deported didn't have any criminal record and only 3% had been sentenced for a violent or potentially violent crime. The White House eventually did email a statement Thursday that basically told 60 Minutes how to do its job. It suggested a story about American children murdered by illegal aliens. It wasn't carried in the segment. I might have included it because it unwittingly illustrates the administration's view of why human rights can be disregarded. But I can see why it wasn't included since it didn't address the substance of the 60 Minutes report. In her memo to the CBS News staff after the segment was pulled, Alfonsi wrote, if interviews with officials are required to comment for a story to run, as Weiss suggested, they could kill a story by ignoring the requests. Most, if not all, journalists would side with Alfonsi on that point, including me. If I had to wait for a comment from management at the local stations about any controversial story to be able to publish it, I wouldn't be able to report anything. That's because it's increasingly difficult to get management at the local television stations to comment about stories, and they won't let reporters and anchors talk to me without prior approval. The proposed merger between Nexstar, which owns WIVB-TV, and WNLO-TV, with Tegna, which owns WGR, appears to have made management more cautious to comment about anything for fear of saying something that could upset the Trump administration and kill the potential merger. Fears of what the Trump administration possibly will do if it doesn't like something reported has a chilling effect on the media. The refusal for stations to allow local reporters to be interviewed recently had an absurd point when Tegna officials wouldn't allow Channel 2 reporter Nate Benson to be interviewed by me for a light feature on him. I hope to applaud Benson for his work covering local government. He has become a bit of a personality, wearing a flat hat and dressing more casually than traditional reporters. Weiss's view that the 60 Minutes story didn't advance previous stories from other news organizations about the conditions in the prison camp suggests she is so new to the job that she doesn't realize the power of a 60 Minutes report. We're talking about 60 Minutes, the gold standard. 60 Minutes advances a story just by being 60 Minutes. It remains a ratings bonanza that raises awareness about any issue, especially for people who don't read newspapers or watch cable news. According to the recent November sweeps, it was the highest rated entertainment program in Western New York. By postponing the story, Weiss created a public relations nightmare that damaged the reputation of 60 Minutes and CBS. Just as importantly, it damages her own reputation. Books. You are listening to a reading of articles and features from the December 28th issue of the Sunday Gusto from the Buffalo News. Books. True Tales. 2025 Year in Review. The 10 Best Nonfiction Books of 2025 by Chris Hewitt. If what I read and loved in 2025 is any indication, writers have pulled their focus in from the big picture to the world writ small. Between the covers of my top 10 nonfiction books, you'll find themes of escape, hope, tragedy, and joy. A Marriage at Sea by Sophie Elmhurst. Bone Valley by Gilbert King. Tigers Between Empires by Jonathan Slaught. I Am Nobody's Slave by Lee Hawkins. The Zorg by Sudith Kara. Taste. Restaurant notes. Buke Baking offers rare Asian disease, Moki drinks by Francesca Bond. In a Gettsville strip plaza, sandwiched between Dollar General and a dry cleaner, is a small Asian bakery. A couple of cats, Kokai and Melon, nap in the window. At Buke Baking, owner Lynn makes hard-to-find Asian desserts, from mochi tea lattes to chicken floss cakes. I'm more interested in doing something courageous, something unique, Lynn said from the bakery's bright kitchen on a recent afternoon. Born in Fujian, China, and raised in New York City, Lynn's sweet tooth differs from the tastes of many of her Buffalo peers. Her desserts are not dense or super sweet like the donuts, cookies, ice cream, and boba teas that Buffalo has grown to enjoy. Lynn prefers light and fresh desserts that are a touch sweet and slightly earthy. She hosts chiffon cake for $11, which is also like a sponge cake but lighter, with whipped cream, and tops it with savory chicken meat floss and seaweed snacks, or sweet toppings such as Biscoff cookies and tapioca pearls. I know a lot of people don't like the chicken floss and have never heard of chicken combined with desserts, but chicken dessert is very popular in Chinese, Lynn said. That's why I wanted to introduce people here. After earning a master's degree in finance from the State University of Buffalo, Lynn, 24, opened Buke Baking in August. At 2333 Millersport Highway, Gettsville, it's a short drive from the school's north campus. She noticed a lack of Asian desserts, particularly the kind she enjoys, and opened her bakery to help make this place more diverse. Lynn's specialty is glutinous rice desserts. Think sticky rice, mochi. She makes mochi, a squishy Japanese rice bun, from scratch every day with short grain sticky rice, milk, and sugar. She fills it with homemade whipped cream and fresh slices of fruit, usually strawberry or mango. $14 for a package of 4 mochi. She also blends the mochi to form a chewy sediment that sits at the bottom of an iced tea latte. It's similar to boba tea, except instead of using a wide straw to suck up tapioca pearls, you use it to sip bursts of blended sticky rice. The plain version has a distinctive subtle rice flavor, but the mango version is sweeter and more popular. It's like ordering a scoop of plain vanilla versus a scoop of mango ice cream swirled with real fruit. Rice shows up again in the drink that Lynn said is most unique to her bakery. The glutinous tea latte is made from tea sourced from a mountain in Lynn's home province, Fujian. It has the texture of milk and the faint flavor of toasted rice. That's what I say are most special and what we're known for, Lynn said. I feel like that's something that people in Buffalo in this community haven't tried before. She only uses real milk, not artificial creamers or milk powders, nor any vegan milks yet. Lynn is working on vegan alternatives for her tea lattes. Every morning before coming into the bakery, Lynn lays a cat bag on the floor of her home. Her 3 cats, if they feel like coming in that day, hop in the bag. They hang out in the sealed-off vestibule within the front window, like characters in a living window display. There aren't many seats inside the bakery. It's mostly a takeout spot, but the only 4 seats each face the cats. Buke's baking hours are 11:30 to 8:30, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. 11:30 to 9:30 Saturday, and noon to 5 Sunday. Restaurant news. Buffalo is home to many countless great restaurants. We're publishing a list of the 40 best restaurants in installments over the next couple of weeks. Windy Brew, a rural microbrewery in the rolling hills of Strikersville, has new owners as the founders move to Florida and retire from craft beer. Food events. New Year's Eve dinner reservations are still available at the following restaurants. Book a reservation or buy your ticket in advance, as each dinner may sell out and most require reservations. Bratz Hill, Seneca Street is open for dinner December 31st. Casa Azul, 191 Allen Street, is hosting a party with an open bar, all-you-can-eat Mexican food, and DJ music from 10 to 2. Tickets are $75 to $90. India Gate, Elmwood Avenue, and Hurdle Avenue is serving a New Year's Eve all-you-can-eat Indian buffet dinner with a salad bar, dessert station, and entertainment of live belly dancing. The Terrace at Delaware Park, Lincoln Parkway, is hosting a party at 8:30 December 31st with hors d'oeuvres and a 4-hour open bar, as well as live entertainment for $125. Vault at 237 Main Street is offering a 4-course dinner menu for $85. Waxlight Bar at Vin Chandler Street is serving a 5-course fixed menu, tasting menu for $145. Flavorful flatbread. Cook the book. This spin on sciarricata offers a gluten-free taste of Tuscany by Steph Ferrari. In Tuscany, sciarricata, which is pronounced schiacciata and roughly means crushed, flattened, or squashed, is a versatile word applied to a variety of breads and bread-like things, from a piece of sweet focaccia studded with roasted grapes around the autumn harvest to a savory item that more closely resembles a panino and comes stuffed with your choice of cured meats and cheeses. In this recipe from my cookbook, Stezzacchini, instead of the flour-based focaccia like traditional sciarricata, the base is made of blended root vegetables that get a boost from baked-in cheese. There's a slight tang from beets, an earthy sweetness from carrots, and balancing saltiness and chew from pecorino. They can be served in small bites, bursting with flavor on their own, and making a colorful gluten-free alternative to classic crostini. These are great with just about any cocktail, but especially love them with Garibaldi. The orange juice-based drink is a perfect sweet tart counterpoint. Pecorino and root vegetable flatbread, served 6 to 8. Ingredients is 1 pound of beets and carrots, combination and ratio are up to you. 3/4 to 1 cup of water, room temperature. 1 large egg. 2 1/4 cups of grated pecorino romano or Parmesan Reggiano. Fresh cracked black pepper and spices. Preheat the oven to 375 and line a sheet pan with slip pad or parchment. Wash, peel, and dry the vegetables. Chop and then run through a food processor until well combined and nearly pureed. Adding water is needed to facilitate the process. In a large bowl, mix the pureed and shredded vegetables with the egg and cheese until well combined using a rubber spatula or by hand. Spread on a lined paper into a layer about a 1/4 inch thick, using a spatula to smooth with clean hands. Season to taste. Black pepper is all I reach for most days, but these also work well sprinkled with cumin, cinnamon, caraway seeds, paprika, and red pepper flakes. Bake for 40 minutes until brown and slightly crisp. Cut in shapes. Allow to cool completely. Gently remove from sheet pan and serve. Wow, without the work. These 10-minute 3-ingredient recipes are sure to be a hit at your New Year's Eve party. Three-ingredient cranberry brie crostini. With just 3 ingredients, you can pull together an impressive appetizer perfect for holidays or dinner parties. The tangy cranberries cut through the richness of the cheese to create a balanced bite. This quick appetizer can be easily doubled to feed a larger crowd. Serving 12. Active time 10 minutes. Ingredients: 12 1/4 inch thick slices of whole grain baguette, lightly toasted. 1/3 cup of canned whole cranberry sauce. 2 ounces of brie cheese cut into 12 pieces. Chopped chives or garnish. Position rack in upper third of the oven. Preheat broiler to high. Place baguette slices on a baking sheet. Dollop each with a generous 1 teaspoon cranberry sauce. Top each with 1 piece of brie. Broil until the cheese has melted, 1 to 2 minutes. Sprinkle with chives if desired. Apricot, prosciutto, and Parmesan bites. 20 bites, serves 10. Total time, 10 minutes. 10 slices of prosciutto cut in half lengthwise. 1 8-ounce wedge of Parmesan cheese cut into 1-inch slices. 1 6-ounce package of dried apricots. Roll up 1 piece of prosciutto and place 1 slice of Parmesan and 1 apricot on top. Secure with a toothpick. Repeat with the remaining prosciutto, Parmesan, and apricots. Calories: 148 calories, 7 grams total fat, 4 grams saturated fat, 22 milligrams of cholesterol, 11 grams of carbohydrates, 1 gram of fiber, 9 grams total sugars, 11 grams of protein, 562 sodium, 790 IU vitamin A. Large crossword puzzle. Colorful Shrub by Norman Winter. This coming new year will be celebration for all Neurotheum lovers. Jazz Hands Variegated will be honored as proven winners. Heat-loving shrub of the year. This is hands down the most beautiful Loropetalum in the marketplace. Just looking at it for a few minutes will cause you to fall madly in love with it. Loropetalums have the common name Chinese fringe flower. White flower selections have been around for a long time, but it is the rather pink ones that took the gardening world by storm around 25-30 years ago. Color, foliage, and flowers made it to a garden delight. Today, the Jazz Hands series has grown to 6 selections: Bold, Mini, Night Moves, Pink, White, and the star of this column, Variegated. In this group, we really do have choices from the dwarf and compacted to larger selections. Years ago, the first ones in the industry were quite large. I have 3 in my backyard that are pushing 20 feet. The salmon-colored bark is a knockout, but the size could be prohibitive. Fret not, though. Jazz Hands Variegated and the others in the series are easy to fit in the landscape. Jazz Hands Variegated can reach 6 feet in height with a 4-foot spread. You might be thinking you are not into variegated plants. Jazz Hands variegated leaves all look different to me, with colored patterns almost suggesting that each leaf was hand-painted. The leaves show green, pink, purple, and white. Not only that, but it also seems to always be in a stage of change. Shifting sun patterns along with growth and maturity give each day a new look. Don't forget the deep rose pink blossom blooms. Jazz Hands variegated Lopetalum is recommended for zone 7 and warmer. They prefer parts sun to sun. The soil should be fertile and organic rich. While they acclimate with ease in slightly acidic soil, Texas gardeners are finding success with slightly alkaline soil as well. Adding organic matter and raised bed planting mixes improve your drainage and pH as well as green thumb credentials too. Many gardeners find that Jazz Hands variegated Loropetalums make a choice selection for containers. If you think about it, containers with good lightweight potting soil take away a lot of worries. By virtue of the drainage holes, boggy conditions are not normally an issue. Most potting soils have optimum pH levels, and by growing in a container, you can place it in the ideal amount of sun. The garden guy is beyond thrilled to tell you that they are not on the Bambi buffet. Your partnerships in the landscape are only limited by your imagination and creativity. I love them partnered with a chartreuse foliage, whether it is a Nandina, sweet Carolyn ornamental sweet potato, color blazed lime thyme coleus, or a fluffy arborvitae. The white blooms of panicle hydrangeas are magical, combined with the colorful foliage of Jazz Hands variegated. But this year, almost out of luck, I paired Hollywood hibiscus disco diva. My jaw dropped that first day of hibiscus blooms. The point here is, don't be afraid to try. Consider these safety tips for extension cords. Hints from Heloise. Dear Heloise, regarding the recent hint suggesting we plug in extension cords behind heavy pieces of furniture for future use, this can be a serious safety hazard if proper precautions are not taken. Any such cords can be a hazard to young children or pets if they play with or chew on them. They should also be rated for heavy duty and as sure as possible. Light duty cords, if used with the devices or appliances that draw significant current, will heat up, creating a potential fire hazard. Longer length cords increase this effect. They are also inefficient due to the voltage drop that will occur. Today, most power cords of all types have a tag attached that give the rating in watts and current. You should know the wattage or current draw of anything you are plugging into an extension cord before using one. This is especially important when using an extension cord that has multiple outlets. An electrician can give you advice on this subject matter. Water wasting. Dear Eloise, I want to respond to Charlie M. regarding water gobbling golf courses in California. We are aware of the importance of not wasting water. However, golf courses provide beautiful habitats for animals, recreation for people of all ages, and jobs for golf pros, managers, groundskeepers, food service workers, cleaners, and many other staff. Even if you don't play golf, you can appreciate the green, park-like settings they encompass. I would much prefer a golf course to a parking lot or high-rise building. Rough towels. When my sweet mother passed away, I became the owner of her many beautiful towel sets. These have tags from Wamsutta, Supima, or Canon. Unfortunately, while these towels absorb, they are stiff and feel rough when drying off. I have tried adding vinegar to the wash, baking soda to another wash, fabric softener to the wash, even fabric softener. Do towels lose their softness over time? and with many washings, should I just donate these towels? T. If your towels are dried outside on the line, they will indeed be stiff after drying. Use a dryer and either dryer balls or sheets to soften. If your towels are gray, it could be your detergent or that you're using too much laundry soap. Dear Eloise, Mary in Minnesota says she always writes the date on the end of the egg carton before it goes into the refrigerator. There's already a date on the end of the egg carton. The 3-digit number between 0 and 365 is a number of days in the year. Dear Eloise, I just read about the damage hot water can do to PVC pipes. I put a few ice cubes in the sink before pouring hot water down the drain. I think that's more effective than using cold water. Here in Arizona during the summer, cold water needs to be run for quite a while before actually getting cold. You have been listening to a reading of articles and features from the December 28th issue of the Sunday Gusto from the Buffalo News. Your reader has been Michelle. Thank you for listening.
Coming up next in the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service, we have the front section of the Sunday Times. At 2 o'clock, we have the New York Times Opinion section. And at 3 o'clock, we have the New York Times Arts and Leisure section. Stay with us for these readings and more throughout the day. If you're listening to this publication online, you're probably using our website, a podcast player like Spotify or iTunes, a streaming service like Siro, or a smart speaker. Did you know that we now have a dedicated app that can be downloaded to any mobile device, like a smartphone or tablet, for free? App users can conveniently access our live stream and any episode of our podcast easier than ever. To download the app, just type NFRRS in the search window in the Apple App Store or in the Google Play Store. Contact us anytime if you have any questions by calling 716-821-5555, extension 5. Thank you. You're listening to the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. As of this year, our agency has broadcast more than 300,000 hours of radio readings. Volunteer radio readers read newspapers, magazines, and books to area people who are blind or have a print disability, who are provided reading radios. Radio Reading's broadcast signal is provided at no charge by WNED. Radio Reading broadcasts from studios at 1199 Harlem Road in suburban Buffalo. Please let others know about Radio Reading. It's your service. For more information on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service, call 716-821-5555. Are you facing challenges with vision loss and need help with your smartphone, sending emails, navigating the internet, and staying connected with your family? VIA, Visually Impaired Advancement, is offering free classes for seniors weekly at multiple locations with free assistance for your smartphone, email, and internet skills. There's a new session every week, and it rotates between the South Towns and the North Towns. It's at your local Erie County libraries and at 10 a.m. and 11:30 a.m. For more information, call Elhana Porter at 716-888-4632. Again, that's 716-888-4632. The following program is intended for listeners who are blind, have low vision, or have another print disability.